Never bite the hand that feeds you.
Okay.
By Winter Ramos. Game Over, as read by Peter Rosenberg.
All right.
When I heard that I would be heading to Arizona to meet Swizz.
Oh my God, can we not?
It's in the book.
Okay, go ahead.
When I heard that I would be heading to Arizona to meet Swizz, a sensual feeling came over me.
All over
This
her body.
escapade differed from the others. He and Mashonda were already in Arizona, and I'd be flying in as she was flying out.
Oh, shit.
When I first heard the sketchy details, a part of me knew it was wrong to go. Against my better judgment, I flew out anyway. By the time I landed and Swizz picked me up in a sky blue Aston Martin, I got hyped about our time together in the dry state. Oh, but I wouldn't be in a dry state for long. I'm just kidding. Yeah. I added that line. Sorry.
Good.
I'd never been to Arizona before and had tons of questions for Swizz, who, by the way, is an expert on Arizona. But his silence told me something shady was going on. His weird mannerisms gave me all the signs. I knew him well by then. We'd been messing around for roughly 2 months. So what's up? What are we doing? I asked eagerly. He still gave me that shady, up to no good look. Swizz, what's up? I asked him again. When his words finally flew from his lips, I wanted to punch him in the face. He actually said he didn't want to do anything while Mashonda's in the air. She hasn't called me yet, he uttered. And? I spat sarcastically. He didn't respond. He simply drove to the Sanctuary Hotel, where he and Mashonda had a luxurious suite. Once inside, he still didn't say much while waiting for her to call. This is crazy.
This is absolutely
This is crazy.
Ahead.
Her flight should have landed a while before we made it back into the room. It didn't, and soon Swizz began to panic. He thought Mashonda might have been slick enough to show up at the room to catch him with me. He began rubbing his head, pacing the floor and talking real crazy, dialing her number back to back. At that point, I'd become irritated with the start of my trip. The next thing I knew, he'd gotten another room across the hall and moved my stuff into that room. He was crafty like that, always staying ahead of the game when he cheated. We didn't even have sex while he waited for her to call. Mashonda had his mind gone, or maybe that was just a guilty conscience. Finally, hours later, she called. The conversation was brief. I remember him saying, "I'm about to go to the studio."
Jeez.
For the record, ladies, studio refers to another woman's vagina.
That was referring to the mall, though.
Oh, that was taking you to the mall to spend money on you. Even worse. They'd rather have you in the vagina, I'll be honest, than spending money on another woman at the mall. That's the worst thing you could do.
Does Mashonda know about this?
He does now, boo, because guess what?
I mean, before.
I don't know her. So I don't.
You guys never met?
I think, at that, I wrote that in the book because I wanted people to understand that I made a lot of mistakes. And that for me was something that I feel like I absolutely should not have done. That was, and that's where I say I want a lot of young ladies who want to get into the industry to read this kind of stuff and understand. I was in a position where I was working for Cassidy at the time. And, you have the CEO, and I had knew Swizz prior to working for, Cassidy or whatever. So for me, it was just like I was caught in a tough place. Like,
so wait.
Do I say no to him, and do I not date him, and then do I lose my job?
I have a very important question. So what was it like?
What was what like?
With Swizz?
What was it like?
Because
the intimate time.
Because you were like, you seemed upset in this part where you're like, we didn't even have sex there. So obviously it must have been.
It hurt.
Wow.
What do you mean?
It hurt. First of all, I knew. You know what it was? I knew it wasn't a love thing.
Hurt.
You know when you have sex with someone that cares about you, you care about them. It's different than when you're just having sex and you're just having sex because you might feel obligated or you might feel like let's
you're
just
there,
get it done.
so you're like, okay.
Exactly. So I mean, it wasn't intimate. It was cool. It was, but it hurt. It was, it wasn't
emotionally, physically, or
physically. I didn't.
What do you mean it physically hurt?
Look at K-Fox.
Yeah, I wasn't.
What do you mean?
Whatever anybody wants to say, I might have slept with a lot of guys, but that for me was just like.
Hold on.
I couldn't. That's not something that I could have done on a regular basis.
I want to be very clear. Are you saying
Rosenberg? What the fuck?
Oh my God!
Man?
Come on, man.
Why not put the
you
line
don't need to
out
ask
there?
that question, okay?
You're saying that his size was so big that it
It'll
hurt.
let you know. If you read it,
Was it girth, length, or both?
Both. I mean, from what I can remember, this was like over 10 years ago. But from what I could remember, it was, having to just lay up the next day or that night. Like, it was just, then the guilt settles in and it's like, it's mentally painful, it's physically painful, and then it's like, well, why the hell am I doing this? I want all the young ladies that are wanting to get into this industry to know that was dead ass wrong of me to do. I shouldn't have done that. I'm not saying what he did was right, but what I'm saying is my part of it, I should have never partaked in that. That was something that was a big mistake and something that, and everybody thought I was sleeping with Cassidy. And that was the crazy thing because a lot of people around was like, oh, Cassidy always got her around. Oh, and these certain guys like a Fab or Cassidy, they got me around because they can trust. They know that I'm going to do what the hell I'm supposed to do. I work hard. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they have me around. And, everybody kind of...
Will you show us with your fingers how big his schlong was?
Oh, my God.
I don't remember that. Like the
you
size, it was...
that was... No, I mean, was it outrageous?
Maybe like the microphone.
Oh my God! You saw what that thing did to Jay Farrow. Would you have written what you wrote about Mashonda and Swizz if they were still married?
No.
Only after the divorce would you?
I mean, I felt like I might have put in the stories, but I may not have mentioned his name only because I would have respect. But they're not together anymore, and I mean, I feel like she doesn't know the specific story, but Mashonda is not stupid. That's not a dumb girl. Mashonda's a very smart girl. So she might not have known one particular incident, but she knew what was going on.
And now we've learned something else, too. If we ever see Alicia Keys limping on stage.
Why is she always sitting down on stage?
I need to rest my butt. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, my God. That's it.
Woo! We went in last night.